Welcome to today's episode of TFL Today, and with me, as always, is my man Andre.
Hey guys.
And today's a very special show. We're calling it Ask TFL Anything, and this is your chance to ask us, well, anything. Like, Andre, when was your first kiss? And who?
I'm not telling.
Let's contain the questions to truck for Andre and car to me.
How about automotive?
Yeah, automotive. Yeah, let's ask those questions. Before we get to that, we wanted to kind of talk about two big news stories that actually broke this weekend. The first one being that Reuters is reporting that GM is looking at killing 6 cars, and those include the Chevy Impala, the Sonic, the Volt, the Buick LaCrosse, the Cadillac CT6, and of course the Cadillac XT6. Now there have XTS,
Okay.
and there have been unconfirmed reports that those cars are going away. Now over the weekend, some of the other publications talked to the CEO of Cadillac, and he said that there's no way that the CT6 is going away. It's brand new.
I agree.
But the story is that those are 6 potential cars that GM may be doing away with. Now, you and I were talking, and you said that it makes sense for Chevy to kill the Volt. Why is that?
Well, the Volt, first of all, there's a Bolt, and Volt and Bolt are very similar names.
Because they rhyme?
And people are confused when you say I'm getting a Volt. People think it's a Bolt and vice versa. And the Bolt, I think, is a really good car. I mean, they have really
It's not selling, unfortunately.
nailed. Yes, it's a little pricey at $35,000 plus. It's not a cheap car, but I think it's a well-handling car, and it's got 38 miles of range. So I think they're competing actually, the Volt and the Bolt, maybe for the similar customer.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger story, of course, here is the fact that there's 2 bigger stories. Number one, that all these cars represent jobs, right? And when you kill cars like an Impala, like a Sonic, like a Volt, that usually means that factory jobs are going away.
Yes.
In Michigan. And that's painful because...
I have a solution.
What's your solution?
Solution, get rid of the cars, build trucks. Okay, guys?
I think
Start building the Ranger, more Colorados, more GMCs, everything else, everybody.
That's Andre's easy answer. And you know, it takes a while to switch over from building cars, which most of these are, right?
Yes.
These are traditional sedans, to building crossovers and SUVs. The other bigger story, of course, is that the car market is probably on a decline now. And you know, the automakers look far into the future because they take a long time to plan and produce cars. So they know what's coming. And in 2009, of course, we kind of hit rock bottom. We went from 16 million units are just cars. That's just the industry talk. I don't like it, but that's what it is, so that's the word we use. 16 million units annually in the U.S. to about 10 million, which is incredible. And then we kind of crawled our way back up, and I think last year we hit 17 million units.
Nice.
But now it's flatlining, and of course it's on the way back down. And this has real-world implication to people's lives. Not just, you know, as car enthusiasts, of course, we're like, oh, what does it mean if I can't buy a Sonic or a Buick LaCrosse or let's say an XT6. But it means that factories might get shuttered, plants get reshuffled, and of course GM closes for a week every year, and they have closed for longer than a week this year, their plant production. You know, it's just a really interesting story. I think it's a sign of the time and of things to come.
Ask us anything. Who is behind this?
I don't know. I don't know. Hey.
Oh, it's a delivery.
It's a delivery, yeah.
So
yeah.
this is a very dynamic environment.
Yeah, it's live. Our studio also doubles as a... here's another good best practice. Let's make sure that door is always locked.
Okay.
All right? All right.
But it doesn't stop them from knocking.
No, it doesn't stop them from knocking as opposed to walking. So let's keep going. So the other big news that broke this weekend, and you know when news stories break either on Friday or on the weekend?
They're not good.
They're not good, right? You never get a press release saying, you know, we're selling more cars on a Saturday. It's always really bad stuff.
Something sketchy or something bad.
Yeah, that happens. So the other big story is that the European Commission, I speak German, but I can't even say this, the German Bundeskartellamt, basically
Really?
the German Cartel Commission is looking into several European, specifically German manufacturers into the fact that they've been operating a cartel. And the car companies that they're looking at are BMW, Daimler, Audi, and Porsche. Now, what they're looking into is that these guys all got together and basically colluded on pricing, which is illegal. So they had these meetings where representatives of each of these companies sat around and said, you know, for 3 Series and 3 Series competitors, we're going to price them at this level, yada, yada, yada. Now, BMW has fervently denied that they are part of any kind of cartel, but this is serious news because it means more fines. And, you know, it's interesting because right now we're at a very, I think, critical time to the automotive manufacturing industry. A lot of stuff is unraveling, right? There's all kinds of issues with emissions testing. Of course, VW was the first to get hit by that, but now recently Mercedes announced that they're voluntarily recalling 3 million cars in Europe for emissions issues. So, you know, it's literally much more than just smoke. It's fire. And I think people's trust in car companies is starting to waver, and people think that these companies are saying one thing and doing another thing, and that is an issue. And
yeah, my trust wavered when the TDI scandal broke out.
Yeah, yeah, and specifically, that's a bad time for that to be happening when the world of automobiles is on the decline. So, you know, usually when things like this happen, I would look for major shakeups in the form of either consolidation or companies going out of business or brands being shelved. So I think in the next, buckle up boys and gals, in the next 2 or 3 years, we're in for a rough ride in the automotive industry.
Wow, you're a downer today, huh?
Well, you know, I mean, this is serious stuff that's happening, and that's the way the wind is blowing right now. Winter is here, Andre.
Well, not in the truck world.
No, not in the truck world.
If you talk to our expert, the industry expert, Anton, you know, he will tell you, and, you know, I look at sales data all the time, that truck sales are still strong. Like Ram's been up 8% year over year. So is Ford, almost double-digit growth. And GM is wavering a little bit in trucks. So GM truck sales are not doing very well right now. But Toyota is still holding even and holding strong with trucks. And so is Nissan is growing their Titan sales. So, you know, trucks are doing fairly well. And I think that's kind of maybe the market is shifting a little bit towards pickup trucks and big SUVs maybe to some extent.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with the price of gas. Right? Gas has been low for a long time. People are predicting that it's going to stay low. So why not buy
a giant truck? A
giant truck that has a lot of functionality, comfort, when it doesn't cost a lot to drive it. And that means that cars like the Volt, which specialize
the Impala,
which specialize in getting good fuel economy, are doing poorly. All right, so now is that portion of the show where you ask us anything. Tommy, do we have any questions?
People want to see the Impala back to its quote-unquote former glory.
Yeah, the Impala has, you know, it's an iconic name for cars, and it goes back a long way. And I remember when I was a kid, you know, you saw that little jumping Impala on the side of a car, and it meant that it was a sporty, luxurious, cool sedan. And it was one of those cars that was, in some ways, the pinnacle of GM styling. It was beautiful. It had a lot of panache. And recently, it's become just another big family sedan.
Almost like a, you know, like a fleet car in some ways. I mean, it's big and comfortable.
Yeah, when you talk about a rent-a-car, basically.
A lot of comfort, yes, but
the style is not, you know,
it's not emotional. It doesn't have that emotion.
Yeah, and I think that's what's missing. That whole segment, by the way. So, you know, there's mid-size cars, and then there's the large size. That segment is really dying. So it includes the Chrysler 300, the Impala, the Taurus, the Toyota Avalon. I think Hyundai just announced that they're killing the Azera, which is also in that segment. So that large sedan segment is hanging on by a thread. Those cars are going away, and that's because people are moving into crossovers and SUVs instead.
Do you think something that may save large sedans, do you think retro styling would save them?
That's a good question,
you know, some emotion from before?
You know, I just don't see it going that way. The problem with large sedans is they're just not practical anymore. You know, at one point in time, right, think about Mad Men, right? It meant something to drive a large Chrysler or a large Cadillac or a large Lincoln.
Continental.
Right? Yeah, you shoot up and it's style. Today, people are much more interested in how the thing you know, functions. Yeah. Go ahead, Tommy.
So we've got a bunch of questions. This one's for Andre.
Yeah.
My dad is going to buy a luxury truck. What would you recommend?
A luxury truck? Ooh. Well, you have a lot of choices.
Yes.
And luxury trucks, the price is still climbing. Keep climbing and climbing and climbing.
So on the Ford side, let's give them the choices, right?
The choices.
So Ford, you could get the King Ranch.
King Ranch, or you can get a Limited.
Or the Limited.
That's an F-150 in the Super Duty. Is this a heavy duty truck or is this kind of
We
a
don't
light
know.
duty?
Let's go with half ton.
Let's do it with half ton. So, and actually, multiple manufacturers have multiple choices for luxury. Like Ford has 2 at least.
Toyota has 2.
Toyota has 2. So
1794 editions,
Right.
Platinum edition.
So Chevrolet has High Country, GMC has Denali, and then Ram has Limited,
Yep.
as well as Laramie and Longhorn and Tungsten. Tungsten's it was the most expensive Ram that's
And
coming out right now.
when you guys ask us these questions, the problem there is we can't answer them because you're not being specific enough. I want to buy a sporty car. I get that kind of a question all the time. And I don't know what that means, right? Do you want to buy a crossover, an SUV? Do you want to buy a domestic?
Do you need 4 seats, 2 seats, 1 seat?
And let's should we give them the secret to this, Andre?
What?
So the secret is when anybody ever asks me what car they should buy, I always tell them whatever car they're suggesting is the right car for them. And why is that?
Yes, because, well, you can buy a car with emotion
Right.
or with your brain.
Because they've already decided that's the car they want to buy for the most part. And they don't want me to tell them to buy another car. Because I've tried this a bunch. I had just a friend who was looking.
But you need to confirm.
They want validation that that's the right car. So I had a friend recently who, this was like a year ago, who wanted to buy an Xterra. And I went, Xterra is going away. It's heavy, it's thirsty. There are probably other vehicles that are much more modern. No, it was going to be the Xterra, and I suggested all these cars, of course, they bought an Xterra.
There you go.
So they didn't care about my advice, they just wanted to know that it was the right car to buy. So when you ask a question like, what luxurious truck should I buy, you got to be much more specific.
Here we go. This is a good question. This is from 1970 Honda CL100. Who makes the best cheeseburger in Colorado? I vote Atomic Burger.
Ooh. I think, a lot of steak places make really good burgers or cheeseburgers.
I like Red Robin.
Yesterday I went to Freddy's.
That's not Colorado.
But
that's a national chain.
It's a chain,
Yeah.
but they're growing in Colorado like crazy.
Isn't Red Robin a national chain?
No, Red Robin's a Colorado chain. They're out of Colorado.
Is it?
Yeah. So I go for Red Robin. I think the best cheeseburger in general. I like Portillo's, which is a Chicago chain. A lot of people like In-N-Out Burger. But let's go back to automotive. Come on, this is not hamburger talk.
Freddy's.
All right, Tommy. Any other questions?
This is actually interesting because we were just discussing this. Did you see Edmunds' torture test the
Yes.
shocks on the new Ridgeline against the Tacoma? The Ridgeline actually won. They all broke though.
Yeah, I just watched that. I thought that was a really interesting review. I think Edmunds did an interesting job of that, and we're actually going to go do something similar. Not a torture test, but Andre and
a fun test.
Yeah, and Nathan and Tommy are leaving today for Moab. We're doing the ultimate Honda vacation, so we're going to take the Ridgeline and we're going to take the Pioneer. We're going to go play in Moab and put together a really fun review video out of that. So these guys are leaving after this, so stay tuned for that video. But yeah, that was a cool video. When I watch videos like that, it really motivates me. I think all of us to actually do a better job in coming up with interesting tests like that. The problem we have with that is Edmunds, of course, has been around a long time. They're much bigger, and when they break a car, or cars, or trucks in this case, they can call up the manufacturer and say, hey, we were testing it and we broke it. Sorry, take it back. When we do it, we risk not being able to get those vehicles again.
Or they can actually have the budget to fix it, maybe.
Or they have the budget to fix it. We're not Edmunds. We're TFL. We're building our brand, and we just don't have that kind of clout yet. As the more of you guys that watch our videos, the more clout that we build, the more that we can do to these vehicles. But we certainly not like Consumer Reports where we go and buy the vehicle. We don't have that kind of budget. We can't get them from dealerships because dealers are we've tried, and dealers are notoriously hard to work with.
Yeah, because they want to sell cars, not give us cars to test.
Right. They hate us putting miles on them, so they hate us driving them.
Yes.
We hate doing reviews where we don't drive the vehicle because then it's just standing around looking and pointing at things. There are people who do. There's plenty of those out there, and we actually like doing real world tests. That's what we're about. And so the last time, I have a good dealer friend, and the Ghibli was lent to me, and the dealer said, take it as long as you want, drive it. And I said, I won't put many miles on it. Guess how long I had that vehicle before they wanted it back? And they had like 13 of them sitting on the dealership.
30 minutes?
15, maybe 10.
What?
Yeah, I got a phone
call.
call.
You back?
Yeah, 10 minutes later, oh, somebody wants to drive it. I'm like, we have our entire production team. We just got set up. So we've kind of given up with working with dealers. So we're trying to work with the manufacturers, but giving back broken vehicles. I know the Edmunds, in the video they said that Honda was grateful for it. Believe me, that phone call, Honda would not be that happy getting that phone call. We just broke your brand new Ridgeline. Go ahead.
any news, this is for Andre again, any news on a diesel Frontier?
No, no news. Actually, there was a glimmer of hope when last week Mercedes announced the X-Class mid-size pickup truck overseas. They unveiled it in South Africa, and it was meant for other markets, Australia and South America, not for North America, not for us. But it gave a little glimpse maybe in what the next Frontier will look like because they share a platform. So that was kind of exciting, but there is no real news, nothing official about a Frontier coming out with a diesel. You drove a prototype years ago of a diesel Frontier, but it's just been a very slow process. It's just,
it was cool. I got to drive it. It was a European diesel, I think.
Well, no, it was a Cummins.
It was a Cummins, yeah.
It was
They
a
stuck a
2.8
Cummins. They stuck a Cummins in. Yeah, it was interesting. It was an experiment. They were never going to actually build it. And speaking of Frontiers, why is this one back there, Andre? It's going away, right?
Well, it's our long-term truck. We've had it for, what, 5 months?
Thank you, Nissan.
Yeah, thank you, Nissan. It's the most affordable truck you can buy brand new.
Yeah.
$18,400 is the starting price.
And we fell in love with it. It's become kind of a TFL mascot. It does everything you want it to do. It does nothing more than you want it to do, which is great. It's the truckiest truck of them all, but you just did a video basically saying goodbye to it, so we wanted to have it in here.
I'm sorry, now you're getting me sad.
As a farewell to our last Frontier.
Well, we actually tested it on a combined loop. We got 27 MPGs.
Which is incredible.
In this little 4-cylinder truck. And you and I loaded it to the max.
Yeah.
We took it to Moab, of all places.
Yeah.
Got 22 MPG.
Yep.
This is a nice little truck, and it will last a long time.
Yeah, it's what trucks used to be like, and we're sad to see it go. Yes, Tommy?
What do you guys think of the F-150 Police Interceptor?
You know, I hope to see it, because we actually got invited to the new F-150 launch in
August
Michigan.
9th, 8th and 9th we're going.
Yeah, that's, in just a few weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, well, I'm crossing my fingers that we'll see a police interceptor or responder. It's called a responder truck. And usually people like to see those, right, on video?
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, Ford has been building police trucks for a long time.
Yes.
But now they're kind of officially in the police truck business. Once again, it's the same thing we were talking about earlier, right? Their interceptors aren't being as popular, so now their Explorer, which is called the utility,
and now the Expedition.
Right, those are becoming like just the same thing that you guys want is what the police departments want, and so now we're seeing police departments go to more utilities.
By the way, some outlets said this is the first F-150 police truck. No, that's not correct. What it is the police departments actually have rigorous testing that they put their vehicles through, and if a vehicle passes those tests, this is like braking, track testing, right, acceleration testing, then you can become a certified police truck.
Yeah.
But they were building trucks, for departments for a very long time, just for daily use.
And Tommy, another question?
Well, there's a lot of discussion about the 2018 Fiesta not coming back. I don't know if we've discussed that story.
Yeah, we haven't discussed the fact that the Fiesta's not coming back, so we'll do something with it. And actually, that's a really good point, guys. We get a lot of emails. We get a lot of emails from you guys asking us, do you know anything about, let's say, the Bronco or the Ranger? That's a classic one. And let's make this promise to you. The second we know something about anything,
we will turn our cameras on,
and we will put it up on our websites. I mean, we take that. If you look at our videos, you saw it first on the Fastlane car. We take that very seriously, and there's no information that we're sitting on not sharing with you guys. Like, hey, Andre, do you know that the Bronco is going to be, based on?
It's going to be electric.
Yeah. We don't. There's nothing like that here at the offices that doesn't get out there. The second we know something, and we can verify it, and we can create an honest report on it, that's the second that we publish it to one of our websites. So
and sometimes there are embargoes. Yes, embargoes exist where manufacturers release information to some journalists.
Yes.
And they set an embargo for that time. But, the second that's available. Like, remember when the engine information came out for the F-150?
Yep.
We were here in the studio probably 5 minutes from, on the release.
Yeah, and doing the video and putting it up on our website. So there's nothing we know that we can't share with you. Yes, Tommy?
Do you think FCA will start selling brands?
Well, it's possible. I mean, they have several profitable brands, right?
Right.
Jeep.
Yeah.
And Ram are doing well.
Right. So the insider thinking, and this is just speculation now. This is not like official, is that Chrysler's going away because it makes. I mean, the two brands that if FCA kind of decides to spin off brands that are the most strongest are Ram and Jeep. Those are and of course maybe Alfa Romeo in Europe, but not so much here. But the ones that are probably on the chopping block are of course Chrysler, because Chrysler has the Pacifica and the big sedan, which isn't really in vogue right now, and then Dodge is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, Dodge is doing interesting things like, with the Demon and the Hellcats and everything else. I mean, they're trying to go out for the emotional buy and just a lot of horsepower, and the same with the Durango. But, a lot of their cars are not selling well, right? They just killed the Dart.
Right.
The 200 just went away. So that's our kind of feeling.
And there's an industry trend out there that says that over the next couple decades, there's going to be really two kinds of cars. There's going to be the mass transportation cars, right, and the highly emotional, kind of very expensive cars. So all that middle stuff might be going away. So basically, general transportation, you know what those cars are, and like very emotional, fast cars.
Mustangs, Camaros.
And the stuff in the middle, gone. That's potentially a trend that we're seeing emerge, but we'll see if that pans out to be true or not.
There's also an electric trend. I'm going to New York City later this week, after Moab.
Yeah.
And the Bollinger is unveiling an electric, they're calling it a sport utility truck, basically a 4x4 electric vehicle. No real information or images are available yet. They teased it, but I'm going to be there and I'm going to bring you guys, the latest stuff, live stream it from the event.
Yeah, so just what's coming up on TFL in the near future. First and foremost, Andre and Nathan and Tom, you're going to Moab with the Ridgeline and the Pioneer, and then you're going to Bollinger Electric Truck, and then I'm going up to New York to cover the new Audi TT-RS and the S3 RS. RS3.
Well, those are exciting, emotional cars, right?
Right,
we were just talking about it.
So we're going to have reviews of those coming up as soon as possible. I think there are embargoes on those, maybe Friday, so you have to wait a little bit. But those are the new vehicles that are coming up. And then in terms of our video production, we've got a video that we're working on right now. We're going to take, if we can get the truck back, the F-250 that you took up Gold Mine Hill, the white one. We had a little issue with it. Don't worry, we covered it with video. We got the whole story on our first attempt at the Ike Gauntlet, so we want to get it back. Hopefully we'll get that back. If not, we'll publish the first video, so that's coming up as well. And then the most exciting one, which is, I'm sitting on pins and needles. Tommy and I flew to Wisconsin last week, to Oshkosh, and I actually got to drive the JLTV, which is the replacement for the Humvee. So I actually got behind I'm one of the few civilians that's actually gotten to drive what will be the new Humvee. It goes Jeep, Humvee, and now JLTV, which is a kind of a bad name. I'm sure the soldiers out there will come up with a better name. But we're doing a video that's basically Humvee versus JLTV. The only issue is because there's such high security around it. They initially wanted to shoot the video themselves, and we said, no, we want to shoot it ourselves. But we agreed to give them the video.
The raw video?
The raw video that they're actually looking at, and possibly more like probably editing to give us back, because there's a lot of classified info that we may have either shot or talked about in that. So we will do a video. We probably shot like 2 hours worth of video. The question, of course, is, Andre, if we get 4 minutes back, then the video won't be that great. But if we get an hour back, then it actually might be great. But
yes.
I'm
excited. I'm really curious how it was.
Yeah, it's an incredible vehicle. All right, Tom, any other questions?
Will the new Ranger look like the F-150?
There's pictures out there.
No. Well, see, Ford is doing the C thing, right? They're doing their headlights in shapes of the C's that look towards each other. If you look at the Super Duty, if you look at the F-150. So I think the Ranger will have the same theme, but I just don't know what it will look like. Some people are saying it might look like the Expedition nose, which is
I think
different.
a good starting point would be like take the F-150 and take the current European Ranger,
kind of smush them together,
and you're going to get yourself a Ranger.
But I'm really excited. If the Raptor Ranger comes out, that's going to be direct competition to ZR2. That's going to be insane. With the Jeep pickup truck coming out soon, holy cow!
Yeah. We're going to be answering those questions for the next 3 years.
A lot of speculation.
And guys, this is all. Car manufacturers move at a pretty glacial pace. So it's like I don't want to buy this vehicle until you're going to be waiting probably 2 years before you get your hands on a Ranger.
There's another trend though, right? We just heard information reported that the Wrangler is going to be unveiled in Los Angeles
Uh,
in November. The new Wrangler, JL, the next generation Wrangler.
at SEMA?
No, in Los Angeles at the LA show.
Oh, at the LA show,
At the
okay.
LA Auto Show in November. And it will go on sale in December. And that's the new trend that we're hearing, that manufacturers, if they have a successful vehicle already, they're going to unveil a new one and just start selling it. You know, they're not going to wait a year and, you know, have that kind
Yeah,
of...
because especially if you have a
downturn.
profitable vehicle, for instance, like the Ram, the current Ram is selling really well, so why would you unveil a new one? Tommy, one last question, please.
Will the Hellcat engine ever see its way into a Ram 1500?
TRX?
If the TRX comes out, but once again, we are not hiding anything. We're not...
Yeah,
we don't-
yeah, well, unless the whole thing blows up, what'll happen is there'll be a new Ram next year, and then you got to wait 2 years. Then
there'll be a mega Ram.
Yeah, there'll be a TRX version.
Yes.
So yeah, there'll be a TRX. It'll be on the new platform, and it'll be like 2 years from now. Probably.
And
this is speculation. We have no confirmation of that. We haven't talked to any SC executives, but that's where it's going.
Yep.
Yep. Any other questions?
Well, we've got a lot of them.
We got more questions streaming in. So how long have we been on? This is usually a half hour. Have we been going half hour yet?
27
Yeah,
minutes.
we got another
Just a
3
couple
minutes.
more minutes.
Yeah.
Joshua likes the work truck videos that we've been doing.
That's
Oh.
due to Andre. So thank you, Andre, for getting those for us.
Well, this is a work truck. You know, our Final Frontier, that's where we started.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, part of your idea too, you know, just to get, and you guys have been asking us this so long, cheaper trucks, more affordable trucks, work trucks. So we've had the Ram, the Chevy, the Ford, and we'll keep doing it.
Yeah, as long as we can get the trucks from manufacturers and not break stuff on them.
And
we'll keep
you know,
doing it.
it's hard to get because manufacturers usually have fully loaded vehicles
Yeah.
because they want us to show all the features, all the gizmos, all the luxury stuff. So getting work trucks is difficult.
And it's a tight balancing act. I want to thank any manufacturer that's out there watching us as well. Thank you for lending us these trucks
Yes.
because you know we're not out there standing in front of them just talking about them. We're actually putting them in harm's way. So we appreciate that you trust us that we'll handle them with the care they deserve. Yes, Tommy.
I don't think we have enough hours to answer this question.
Okay.
Power Stroke, Cummins, or Duramax?
Power Stroke, Cummins, or Duramax? Well, you know I have a Duramax right now. I have a 2002 Duramax, so I'm a little bit biased. But, you know, the Cummins engine has proven itself over a testing period over the last 4 or 5 years. It's just like a semi-truck engine. It's a straight six, and it has really good low-end torque, and it's relatively efficient when you compare it against the other trucks, the Duramax or the Power Stroke.
Yeah, a lot of the diesel engineers will tell you that the optimal configuration for a diesel is a straight six. And so that points you to two engines right there.
And so when you do straight six, you have less vibration
Yes.
because you don't have a lot of weight moving sideways. So you have weight in the same plane, and then you can get a little bit more efficiency out of it, but not as many revolutions. So if you want to rev your diesel to like 4,000 RPM, Cummins doesn't like that. You know,
No.
it doesn't go to 4,000.
No,
it
it's
goes
a
to
low,
about 3,000.
it's a torquey engine.
Yes.
And so but then Ford has done well with their Power Stroke as well. So
And, yeah, and if you look at drag strips, people racing these
Yeah.
engines, you see a lot of Duramaxes. You see some Power Strokes racing because you can rev them higher. The V8s like revving, and you can build insane power with them.
So that's kind of a roundabout way of answering it, but basically it really depends on what you're looking for, right? I think if you're looking for, like, if you're going to tow a lot and you're going to do it over long distances and you want a lot of like this low-end grunt, probably the straight six is the way to go. But if you kind of want something that's a little bit more revvy,
Sporty, a little bit more sporty
then
diesel.
go with the 8, yeah.
Yeah.
And last question, Tommy.
A Big Green versus Goldmine Hill Part 2.
Oh yeah, we got to do it.
Yeah, we just did we replaced the vinyl. We got that shot, so we're
Got the
editing
interior.
We got that, and the next video we have to do is we have to take that fuel injection, which we mounted the wrong way.
That was my fault.
And we got to put it straight up because it's causing some issues. So we'll put it straight up, and then
The minute we do that, we take it gold.
yeah, it's still it kind of bogs down. And then we have to replace the lift. The lift, it just rides horribly right now. It's like riding a bucking bronco. And even like going, we took it to Goldmine Hill, and it was almost undrivable. It was just jumping around, bucking around.
It's a simple lift with blocks.
Yeah.
It's just really harsh.
So we really want to take it down and put a decent lift on it, and then we're going to take it up all those hills. But remember, we only have another 2 months maybe we can do that before the snow comes back. So all that stuff is coming quickly.
Well, yeah. Well, let's do it. I think suspension might take us a long time. So let's get a baseline.
We could.
When we fix the injection, which should be a relatively simple thing.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
This has been getting a lot of talk.
Yeah.
We have a lot of discussion of what Tundra is going to do with their engines, maybe a diesel. Do you think that's a possibility?
Toyota has it.
Toyota has diesels overseas. When I've been speaking with their chief engineer, Mike Swears, he always says, diesel is low on my priority list. And when he's talking about Tacoma and Tundra. And the reason for that being is it requires a lot of development costs, and they're not seeing a lot of return on investment. So it's a business decision. Do I invest all this stuff into EPA testing this and emissions controls and doing all this research and for the North American market, and how many units am I going to sell? So I don't think it's likely.
I would say that you guys probably in general, I think we don't understand just how much of the decision process is made in Japan, right? And so the Japanese, think about like Japan and the country.
Headquartered.
It's very dense. It's a very small island nation. And for instance, here in America, you can get in a truck and drive from here to Phoenix, which is 1,000 miles, and do like 3 turns. Literally, that's all you would do. And that kind of stuff does not exist in Japan. And there's this kind of cultural difference between what American truck companies are building and what the Japanese are building. So you've got Americans working here saying this is what the market needs, but then you got the bosses in Japan who aren't immersed in this market, who don't understand the huge distances and the way that people use diesels. And so I think what that does is it creates a time lag in between when a trend hits here. So like diesels are obviously a trend right now, right? So Ram came out with their eco diesel, and of course that is still in limbo, hiatus, yeah, because they're still waiting to get sorted with the emissions.
Ford wants to do a diesel.
Ford is doing a diesel. The baby Duramax is out there. So
and the GM was just caught filling up their new prototype with diesel on 1500.
Exactly, and so that is a trend, but that trend doesn't necessarily translate to what the Japanese bosses, because they're not here, right? They don't necessarily see the American market the way that the people on the ground see it. So they're always kind of, and especially Toyota. Toyota never.
But they're conservative.
Yeah,
also.
They're very conservative. Toyota's like never one of the earliest adapters both, right? They just do this continual improvement, and a diesel is a big thing for them. So it's not like somebody in Tokyo says, "Hey, let's throw in a diesel." It doesn't work that way.
But I think you will see a dual injection gasoline V8 in the Tundra. I mean, they just came out, They downsized their V6 in the Tacoma, right? Put dual injection system in it, made it a little bit more efficient, and refined it. And I think you can see the same trend in the Tundra. And then maybe I can see them actually. That's my speculation. I can see them doing a fuel cell truck. Actually going electric.
Yeah, they are. They did that. They did a fuel cell truck, hydrogen fuel cell truck, as a kind of proof of concept in a big semi truck.
Yes.
They took 2 of those fuel cells, from the air fuel cell vehicle, Mirai, and stuck it in a truck. So we'll see. I mean, there's a lot going on, but I wouldn't hold my breath in the next year or 2.
For diesels, no.
Well, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for taking time out of your day to check out this episode of TFL Today. As always, this is Roman
and Andre
saying check out tflcar.com and tfltruck.com, where as soon as we know the news, we'll put it up there. And Andre, have fun in Moab, man. Enjoy yourself.
I will. It will only be 110 degrees. So.
Only 110.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys next time. Ciao.